please rise and join with me in the Pledge of Allegiance? Mrs. Morris-Smith, would you please call the roll?
Roger Brock.
Here.
Michael Dye.
Here via Zoom.
Ronald Sims.
Here.
William Hutton.
Here.
Thomas Kazmierzak.
Here.
Vince Vitale.
Here.
Thomas Daverton.
Here.
Marcus Taylor.
Here.
Dean Button.
Here.
9 present. We have a quorum.
Thank you. Next item on the agenda, you should have received in your board packet. Copy of the minutes for February 18th, 2025. Chair would entertain a motion to approve.
So moved. Second.
Moved by Commissioner Daberton, seconded by Commissioner Kazmierzak. Is there any discussion? Chair has a correction. Page 7 of the meeting minutes, right above the title background. We need to amend that to say something to the effect that asked for a staff report, presentation of the staff report, because the public meeting was open prior and there was no public comments to be made. So the chair would entertain a motion to amend the agenda, or sorry, the meeting minutes.
Yeah, Mr. Chairman, there's a second one on page 8.
On page 8,
Yeah, there's a reference to the case number in page 2 that would have been, that's just an error there, so just have that deleted.
so that'll be stricken from the minutes.
Mr. Chairman, I'll amend my motion to approve. It'll be subject to the 2 amendments that were pointed out by you.
Thank you, Mr. Daberton. Mr. Kazmierzak, would you
still
stick with your seconded? Okay, it's been moved and seconded to approve the meeting minutes as amended. Is there any other discussion? Any other discussion? Any other discussion? Roll call on the motion.
Roger Brock.
Yes.
Michael Dye.
Yes.
Ronald Sims.
Yes.
William Hutton.
Yes. Yes.
Vince Vitale.
Yes.
Thomas Daverton.
Yes.
Marcus Taylor.
Yes.
Dean Button.
Yes.
9 ayes, 0 nays. Motion passed.
Thank you very much. Item 4 is old business. Any old business to bring forward?
Yeah, there's no old business.
No old business. Item 5 is new business. CP 25-03, a petition of the City of Hammond Board of Public Works and Safety to reclassify property at 600 177th Street and 626 177th Street from C1 Local Commercial District to C4 General Commercial in order to develop property for new uses in conjunction with the redevelopment plan, North Sub-Area Expansion Area of the Gateways redevelopment area. Chair would ask if the notification requirements have been met.
Notification requirements have been met. For the record, I just wanted to let the commissioners know that Janet and Rahan, homeowner at 610 177th Street, made an inquiry, general inquiry as to what uses would be allowed in C4 General Commercial District related to the rezoning.
Thank you, Mrs. Moore-Smith. I understand that Mr. Poland will be acting as the petitioner for this petition, and so I would ask the commissioners if you have any objection to Mr. Poland acting as the petitioner in this case, and as well as staff. No objections? Hearing none, Mr. Poland, would you please present your petition on behalf of the Board of Public Works and Safety?
Good evening. 600 and 626 177th Street is located south of the Borman Expressway, west of Calumet Avenue. Most people know it as the haunted house site. It also was originally the Indiana Botanical Gardens building. The City of Hammond has recently acquired the property through eminent domain. The city also had expanded the Gateways redevelopment area with what was referred to as the River North sub-area expansion area to the Gateways redevelopment area. That plan talked about changing the commercial makeup of the area. It included not just the subject properties, but some of the adjacent properties that are on the south side of 177th Street, and also there's a portion of the street that's right at the intersection with Calumet Avenue. That segment of the street is called River Drive, sometimes referred to as River North Drive. It includes the where the bike trail lands on the west side of Calumet Avenue, and includes the cell tower that's on the north side of River North Drive, which was previously owned by the church that used to be on the south side of the street, but then the city acquired that when we acquired the church. And then there's two parcels to the west of the subject property, one with the billboard on it, a small parcel, and then another parcel to the west. The city intends to, the creation of the redevelopment area, the creation of the acquisition are the first two steps in how the city wants to go about developing this property. The rezoning to C4, from C1 to C4 is the third step. This is to set all the things in place to go out for RFP, to look for some new development opportunities for this property. The specifics are not defined yet at this point in time because we haven't gone to RFP yet, but we're trying to put everything in place so that it's the information is consistent with the direction that we're going. The C4 zoning does open up all of the permitted and conditional uses that are found in the four commercial zoning districts in the zoning ordinance. But when you look at the redevelopment plan, it was intended to be opening up a bit more specifically for items of either commercial office development, retail development, maybe it's hotels. Those are the things that probably are going to be the language that will be targeted in the RFP. I guess I'll conclude that part of the report for the presentation unless there's any questions.
Questions from the commissioners to Mr. Boland? A question from me, Brian. The remaining residual properties to the west are already C4 zoned?
No,
or
actually-
do we expect them to remain in their current zoning?
Yeah, that's a good point. Those two parcels that I mentioned to the west, which would be the billboard, and then there's another large parcel that is right next to the levee. Now, they are still going to remain a C1. They are not party to this. We do not own them. We have no, we would not rezone something unless we had consent of the owner. And then similarly, on the two parcels on the east of it, the cell tower piece and the bike trail piece are not a part of this petition. I've had some internal discussions that, where the bike trail lands, maybe that's more of an S1 parcel. And then I wasn't sure really what the cell tower would be, but I think there's some opportunities there. Once we go further in the RFP, we'll just see how that kind of plays out.
Thank you. Okay, if there's nothing further, thank you, Mr. Boland, for your time and your presentation. Next on the agenda, we'll open it up for public hearing. So we would take comments from the audience or online. If you would like to make a comment on this petition, I'd ask that you please sign your name and address, state your name and address at the beginning of your presentation, and you may ask questions. Would ask that you sort of limit your time to specific thoughts and not come back to the same thought repetitively. And we won't be directly answering your questions as you make your presentation, that we hope to be able to provide answers following your comments. So we'd open it up for a public hearing. If there's anyone wishing to speak on this, sir, please approach the podium and lectern and state your name and your address, please.
Okay, my name is Kevin Capo. I'm at 633 River Drive on the south side in Munster. And I've been there many years when it used to be an arboretum. All of the neighbors there, we were used to having the protection of all the trees. The Reaper's Realm building is directly behind my house. Our bedroom window basically looks into their second floor. Our concern in this development, because we understand development is important, it goes on, are we going to have light protection, sound protection, privacy protection based on what's going in there? Right now, it's a very quiet residential neighborhood, except for a couple weekends a year, and we've grown used to that. But again, so anything else will be, new and add and detract from our quality of life. Wondering too, when to do the demolition, is to make sure that that building's old enough, there's probably asbestos, other things in there, to make sure that when it's demoed, that all the proper precautions are taken. The majority of the wind comes from that direction towards our neighborhood for the majority of the year, so any dust from demolition construction will be coming our way. I've heard many things, so we're not sure if it's restaurants, those are fairly low. If it's office buildings, those are fairly high. If it's hotels, that would be kind of disruptive to the neighborhood. So I would ask, when you consider this, and I assume it will eventually go through, that there be some protections for the neighborhood south to keep that as a nice residential neighborhood instead of interfacing directly with a commercial district. Again, I'm Kevin Capo, 633 River Drive in Munster.
Thank you, Mr. Campo, for your comments. Is there any other party that wishes to present comments regarding this petition? Any other comments? Anyone online, on Zoom, wishing to make a comment on this petition? Okay, hearing none, I will close the public hearing portion of the meeting and would ask Mr. Poland if he would like to respond, or if I can assist in responding to any of the comments that you've made. Sir, I'd give you that opportunity, Mr. Poland.
Sure. And not necessarily in any particular order from what I wrote down as the questions. Is there any light protection? We do have regulations in our zoning ordinance that restricts light from a site. We measure it at 3-foot candles on the property line. And we also have regulations that any of the fixtures direct the light onto the property and not let it spill over to the adjacent property. We also have landscape requirements that are based on 10% of the parcel. They are flexible in the sense of what actual landscaping can occur, but it can be a combination of trees, grasses, whatever. Those are the things that are typically allowed. You didn't quite say this, but I'm going to say that we are going to make sure that the levee is not impacted in any negative way. That is certainly the Army Corps project. Everybody's pretty much aware of that, and that there is a easement boundary in which nothing can nothing can be constructed in such a way that would undermine the structure of the levee. That even goes so far as to making sure that plants don't grow into the levee and then undermine it. As far as the demolition is concerned, we follow all the statutory requirements for asbestos removal. in any of our projects. We have our own environmental management department in the city that monitors that through any of the permitting process to make sure that all regulations are followed in accordance with the applicable laws.
Thank you, Mr. Poland. Next on the agenda would be for Mr. Poland as staff to make a staff presentation and recommendation on the petition.
Sure, give me 1 second. Okay. All right, as far as a staff recommendation, as indicated in the presentation, this action is the next step following through on the proposed plans that emanated from the River North Sub-Area Expansion Area Redevelopment Plan and the eminent domain action. The plan actually does recommend for the rezoning to C4, so we're following suit with that. And then staff recommends that the Plan Commission forward the petition to the City Council with a favorable recommendation. If the Plan Commission agrees with the recommendation, staff requests that this report is adopted by the Plan Commission as preliminary findings of fact.
Questions for Mr. Poland as staff from the commissioners? Okay. I see, Mr. Poland, you're asking for 3 separate motions, right? So the chair would entertain a motion for the Plan Commission to follow through on the proposed plans that emanated from the River North Sub-Area Expansion Area Redevelopment Plan and the eminent domain action.
Actually, that doesn't need to have a motion.
Okay.
You just need the next 2.
Chair would entertain a motion for the Plan Commission to forward this petition to the City Council with a favorable recommendation.
So move.
Moved by Commissioner Taylor, seconded by Councilman Spitali. Is there any discussion? Any discussion? Any discussion? Roll call on the motion.
Roger Brock?
Yes.
Michael Dye?
Yes.
Ronald Sims?
Yes.
William Hutton?
Yes.
Thomas Kazmierzak?
Yes.
Dan Vitale?
Yes.
Thomas Davenport?
Yes.
Marcus Taylor?
Yes.
Dean Button?
Yes.
9 ayes, 0 nays, 0 abstentions, motion passed.
Chair would also entertain a motion to accept the staff report as a preliminary finding of fact.
So move. Second.
Moved by Commissioner Kazmierzak, seconded by Commissioner Taylor. Is there any discussion? Any discussion? Any discussion? Roll call on the motion.
Roger Brock?
Yes.
Michael Dye?
Yes.
Ronald Sims?
Yes.
William Hutton?
Yes.
Thomas Kazmierzak?
Yes.
Dan Vitale?
Yes.
Thomas Davenport?
Yes.
Marcus Taylor?
Yes.
Dean Button?
Yes.
9 ayes, 0 nays, 0 abstentions, motion passed.
Thank you very much.
Mr. Chairman, if I may, Councilman Spitali?
Yes.
I reached out to Councilman Emerson today to ask him to be the sponsor on the ordinance to rezone. He did not get back to me, and if I may ask, would you be willing to be put on as the sponsor to the ordinance? And then, if I hear from Mr. Emerson before we submit it to the council, we'll certainly put both names on there.
Maybe I'll find, are you going to call back again, or is it, I'm all right now?
I'm sorry, say that again?
Are you going to go back to him again?
Yeah, I sent him an email. I tried to call him, but I didn't get through to him, so. Okay.
Thank you, Councilman Spitali. Appreciate your assistance. Next item on the agenda is CP 25-04, determination of fencing requirements pursuant to zoning ordinance 8514, title section 22.20 for provisions regarding containment control fencing around playfields. The chair would ask if the notification requirements have been met.
Yes.
Thank you very much. The chair would ask the commissioners if they foresee any problem with Mr. Poland acting as both the petitioner and staff. Any objection? Any objection? Hearing none, Mr. Poland, you may start your presentation.
Good evening again. Mr. Button and I have been working with a developer or engineers on a project that is looking at some work that is going to go on at the old YMCA. And what they're proposing to do is to put together, or set up a, and Dean, you're going to have to help me with some of the terminology because my brains just went blank, but these outdoor sports facilities, a soccer facility, I think it was.
Two soccer and one sport court.
Right, okay. And because of the nature of those facilities, they're proposing to have these fences around it, containment fences, that is intended to keep the balls in place, so the balls don't get across the street, don't whatever. And those fences can be upwards of 12 feet. They can be upwards of, I think at the backstops or whatever those things were at the end of the goal areas of the soccer field, they were showing potentially up to 20 feet. With that information, we started looking at the zoning ordinance, and we kind of found that some of the language in the zoning ordinance didn't really adequately address this. And even though we have these fields all over the city, and backstops and goal, not really goal posts, but any of those types of things that occur to tennis courts. That's what I was looking for. Tennis courts. All these are higher than the normally allowed 4-foot or 6-foot or 8-foot fences that we have. And so, in preparation of ultimately writing an amendment to the zoning ordinance, if you recall, I've done this a couple of times. I'm just seeking a determination on creating a new regulation in which ultimately would be amended to the zoning ordinance, but it's just to set an idea of how we are going to manage this in order to kind of keep the permit process going forward. Through the assistance of their consultant, the WISE consultant, looked into a variety of what are the sources, what are the ruling bodies of any type of sports field. And those are attached to the back of the report, in which trying to glean out what those authoritative sources are. And so that has been identified under the staff proposal language as what some of those agencies could be. In particular, there's the Urban Soccer Park Organization. They also have ties to FIFA, which is the International Governing Association for, even though they say football, we mean soccer, they call it football. It could be the Indiana High School Athletic Association. It could be building codes in general. There's other authoritative sources, ANSI, ASTM, and then a tennis federation. Doesn't mean that there aren't others, because that's where the proverbial language of our similar authorities comes in, because I'm sure there are others out there that we weren't aware of, but it was trying to give an idea of what those authoritative sources are. And that would end the presentation. Are there any questions?
Questions from the commissioners to Mr. Poland as petitioner? Okay. Thank you very much, Mr. Poland. Now we'll open it up for a public hearing on the petition. If there's anyone in the audience wishing to speak on this petition, I'd ask that you sign in, with your name and address, state your name and address, keep your presentation concise, to the point. And so I take any public comment at this time. Anyone wishing to address the commission regarding this petition? Anyone wishing to address the petition commission at this time on this petition? Hearing none, I'll close the public hearing. I'll turn it back over to you, Mr. Paul, and his staff to make a staff report and recommendation.
Sure. I need to start out by making a couple of technical corrections to the staff report. In the title of the report, it says Title XX, which means 20, and it should be XXII, which is 22. And then on the second page, and this was kind of born out of discussion with Mr. Button today, that changing the minimum setback of 10 feet to 5 feet from the right-of-way. And that's, a lot of discussion about what the development is showing and what makes the most sense. And so that's where that reduction is coming from. But it is also important to note that the proposed language is referring to the corner vision obstruction. So we want to make sure that the placement of these outdoor sports facilities and their containment would not cause any visual obstruction to anybody at an intersection. That being said, staff recommends for the Plan Commission to determine, there's another correction, that the proposed fence and containment for outdoor sports facilities provisions are accepted, and direct the staff to prepare an amendment to the zoning ordinance for a new section 22.19 or other section number as may be determined. Then if the Plan Commission agrees with the recommendation, the staff requests that this report be adopted by the Plan Commission as preliminary findings of fact.
Thank you, Mr. Poland. Questions from the commissioners to Mr. Poland and his staff? Questions to Mr. Poland? Hearing none, the chair would entertain a motion for the Plan Commission to determine that the proposed fence and containment for outdoor sports facility provisions are accepted, and direct the staff to prepare an amendment to the zoning ordinance for a new section 22.19 or other section number as may be determined. Thank you, Mr. Dabberton.
Second.
Thank you, Mr. Taylor. Moved by Commissioner Dabberton, seconded by Commissioner Taylor. Is there any discussion? Any discussion? Any discussion? Roll call on the motion.
Roger Brock?
Yes.
Michael Dye?
Yes.
Ronald Sims?
Yes.
William Hutton?
Yes.
Thomas Kazmierzak?
Yes.
Dan Spitali?
Yes.
Thomas Dabberton? Marcus Taylor?
Yes.
Dean Button?
Yes.
9 ayes, 0 nays, 0 abstentions, motion passed.
Chair would also entertain a motion to adopt the staff report as a preliminary finding of fact as amended.
So moved.
Thank you, Commissioner Kazmierzak. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Commissioner Taylor. It's been moved and properly seconded to recommend that this staff report be a preliminary finding of fact as amended. Is there any discussion? Any discussion? Any discussion? Roll call on the motion.
Roger Brock?
Yes.
Michael Dye?
Yes.
Ronald Sims?
Yes.
William Hutton?
Yes.
Thomas Kazmierzak?
Yes.
Dan Spitali?
Yes.
Thomas Dabberton? Marcus Taylor?
Yes.
Dean Button?
Yes.
9 ayes, 0 nays, 0 abstention, motion passed.
Thank you, and thank you to the commissioners. Next item on the agenda, I guess I should ask, is there any other new business?
No more new business.
Thank you. Item 6 is correspondence.
No correspondence.
Item 7 is commissioners' comments. Awfully quiet tonight, thank you. Item 8 is staff comments.
At this point, I do not anticipate a June Plan Commission meeting.
Thank you, Mr. Poland. Item 9 is public comment. Is there anyone in the audience wishing to make a comment to the Plan Commission? Yes, Mr. Campo. Sorry.
Capo, still at 633 River Drive. 3 quick things. One, thank you for the opportunity to come here and discuss my point of view. A request, we only had like 7 days. I was on vacation, just got the notice this weekend. If you could do a 2-week one, that would be a little better, unless I can someday get a 2-week vacation, but.
Thank you.
So just a point there. And then the last thing that wasn't addressed is the noise from HVACs, trucks, and some other things when they're doing construction and improvements, if that's included. I've worked in industry a long time, and I know that sometimes can be really loud with larger HVAC systems. So just include that when you're doing the development plan.
Thank you. Thank you
Thank
for
you
your
very much.
comments. Thank you. Any other public comment? Any other public comment? Hearing none, Chair would entertain a motion to adjourn.
I'll make that motion.
Moved by Commissioner Hutton, seconded by Commissioner Daverton. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. All
Aye.
opposed?